to start by holding our paper, and for this we're going to add a meadow to both sides. It's going to be really beautiful. Use 12 by 18 paper, so we're coming across with the 18. So on my table here, it's being held horizontally. So that's how I want you to hold the paper too. Now we're going to start to just do a light fold so we get an idea of the center. So I'm not going to fold the whole paper. I'm just going to bring the top down to the bottom. And I'm just going to put a crease near the middle. And you don't have to crease it perfect, just a light crease. This is just going to help us with a guideline here. And now my center of the paper is here. So we want to work in the middle first. So I'm bringing this over. You don't see in the picture plane, some of the paper is going to get cut off. But this is my center, and that's what you need to focus on, is where is your center. So if this is my middle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and estimate from the top of my page to the middle. So the top of the page, and here's my center. I'm going to find halfway. If you want to take this and fold it down again and make a light crease just in the very, very middle. Now I've only folded it to the fold. This will become a fourth of the page. 1, 2, and then of course there's 2 more down here that we haven't made yet. We don't need to fold the bottom. But this will become 1/4 of the paper. So we've folded our paper into fourths. At this fold line here, that's where I'm going to do the little nose area in here. So on this line, on the fourths, I'm going to take and I'm going to do an oval just above this. So I can take the line, and this is in the very middle, side, side. So I'm just going to do a line that's a little bit bigger than my finger. So it's on the fold, but from side to left to right, it's in the middle, on the fold line, on the 1/4 fold line. The line is bigger than my finger, and now we're going to start from here. I'm just going to round this and round it on this side. So it's basically a C shape backwards C. Now just connect it all together. This is the nose of the bear. Now above this nose, right from the line, each line here, I'm going to jump over a little bit. I'm going to put a mark, jump over a little bit, right on the fold, put a mark. I'm going to go above the nose just a little bit and put a mark. Now I'm just going to connect this. Connect these lines together. I'm going to put a number 1 in the very middle. And then I'm just going to curve it up, down and up. Same thing on this side, down and up. Now I'm going to go just a little bit below this and just do a straight line. And then I'm just going to connect them together. Now I'm going to do 2 small circles, and this will start off the pupils. So jump up, 1 small circle here, and estimate the size on that side. This will be the area that's the black colored in. Since it's really small, just color it in. And this is where you can adjust it. If they're not the same size, we'll make it a little bit bigger. You know, now we're going to go around this again. So let me blow this up and show you. So now I'm going to go around this again, hugging really close. Starting at the bottom, come up and around. And I'm going to do it again. Starting at the bottom, just come up and around. The first shape that we formed would be the iris. And then the second one is, that's where you would leave it white, the white of the eye. Now we're just going to put a line on the top here. And we're going to come around this to make a face. So I'm going to curve round, and when I curve round, I'm keeping it very close to the bottom of his chin. Curving round. Let me bring it up a little bit here. Now we're going to add some ears. So if you go to the eye and go diagonally to the edge of his head, I'm just going to come out and around. It's like an N curve almost. Same on the other side. Up, around, and back to the head. And if you notice, it's about the size of my fingertip. That's going to be the center of his ears. And I'm going to do it again. Up and around. Up and around. And that's the inside. We just formed the inside of his ears, and that's the outside. Now, if we go to the fold line on the paper, directly below here, on the fold line, I'm going to do a C, an elongated C here. See how I continued it? So my fold line is right here in the middle, so I crossed over the fold line and did a elongated C. Now I'm going to come from his side of his head here, near the bottom of the head here on the side, down and curve it right to the C line. Looks like a crazy backwards S. You're right. So I'm going to come off of here now, right off of the same point, come down and around, and we just formed a paw. Now this paw is going to be dipping in a honey jar. So we can do a little bit of wiggle here, because this is going to be, I just go snake it like back and forth. This is going to be a little bit of honey all over his paw. And I'm going to do a teardrop. So to do a teardrop, I go down and up like a backwards J and connect it. So that is a little honey drip. I'm going to do another one, down and up. It's like a hook, and just connect it. I've got some drips coming down here. Now we're going to come across on the fold line. This is my fold line. And I'm going to give him a little tummy area here. So I'm just going to come on the fold line. I'm just going to go up, curve it to the paw. So I started at the fold line, curved up right to the paw. And I'm centered right here in the middle of his body here. See how I'm centered? Just came up and curved it to the paw. This will be a tummy. We want the other side of his head now. See where this point is? I'm just coming across, and I'm going to put a dot on the opposite side. So I'm on this side, come across, and I'm going to put the inside arm coming into the honey pot. So I'm going to curve this. I'm going to curve this line just down to the fold line. And then I'm going to cross over here. Just cross over, curving it over. Just like we rounded this end of the arm, I'm going to round this end. So I've done a backward C curve. And I'm going to come off of this body, off of it down to the curve it. And look, it's only about a finger's width here. A finger's width apart. I came right down to the fold line. Curve it right to the end of the paw. So now I have another paw here. Now I'm going to add a honey pot.
No.
The honey pot, I'm going to come from this paw, I'm going to come curve it over, just a slight curve over to the paw. I'm going to come around with another C directly under the paw. So start from this paw, curving it behind this paw. Here's your letter C. Come over straight. Now, directly below this paw here, to the right, I want a little honey that overflows. So I'm going to put a number 1. And I'm just going to kind of go free-form curve here. This came above it and did a free-form curve. I'm going to drip down with a free-form line. It's kind of a wiggly line's free-form. And now I'm going to show you how I'm going to connect this. And you can connect this free-form line any way you want. You just want it to be curvy and kind of looking like it's melty and drippy. So this is like a drippy honey that's dripping down. You can put a little drips if you want. Now we have this curve of the honey pot, so you want it to be symmetrical. Same on the other side. So I'm going to follow this curve, come around up to his paw. So I have a little bit of drip coming down. I got some drips dripping into the honey pot. And now we're going to find the center of our honey pot. And I'm going to drop down. And I'm just going to go toward the bottom of this page. Let me see if you can see the bottom. Yep, you can see the bottom. So find the 2 sides of your honey pot, estimate your middle, and drop down almost to the bottom of the page. Oops. I'm going to do a straight line. Now I'm going to curve, and you can shape your honey pot any way you want to. For this, I want it to be centered. So here's my 2 edges. Here's the center. So now I'm just going to curve this to the honey pot, and I'm going to curve this side. You just want it to be similar on both sides. I'm going to add a stripe. So the stripe I'm adding is in the bottom. If you don't want to add these designs, you don't have to. So now we have our bear. Let's finish up the bear in here. You can add your designs later if you want. Well, this line has to come down and touch. This is like inside his tummy. This is like the little lighter fur, and this is his darker fur. But let's get some body to the bear on this side. So I'm coming from the elbow or the middle of this arm. I'm just going to come down to the honey pot. He's just going to be a pretty large bear. And on the same on this side. I'm just doing a curve. So I see some of his body here. Now I'm going to add a highlight in the nose, which is just a little white space. So if we color around this area, this makes just a little white line of a highlight. And you can adjust your bear as you need to. Now we're going to add some bees in the meadow, because on both sides of him, he's going to be sitting in the meadow eating the honey. And if you want to write the words honey on the honey pot, you can. Oh, I do want to have a little bit of line inside the pot, though. And I'm going to mimic the curve of the pot. Just coming around like this. And then you can add a little bit of wavy, just kind of like the honey right in here. A few little honey lines. Like he's dipped his finger in and it's dripping and making some ripples. Now, I want to do some of these bumblebees, and I'm going to exaggerate the shape of these bumblebees. So for exaggerating these bumblebees, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do basically an oval, And it's kind of a thick oval. And then I'm going to add the head. And I'm going to do some nice, really huge wings, exaggerated. So I went up, curved around and back, and then I went off of this, curve around and back. And I'm just going to do some stripes, which is kind of wavy. These are the really thick, big bumblebees. And I've seen a few of them in my garden lately. And I'm going to add 6 little legs here. You can put a stinger on. You can put any details you want on these bees. I even like, when I do my bees, I like to put veins, little veinings in the wings for extra detail. But that's up to you how you want to decorate. But that's how you make the pattern of the bee. And I put at least 3, but you could do 5, 7, any odd number you want in your meadow. Now for the meadow, what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of like daisies in the meadow. You can put any flowers you want in your meadow or just do long, tall grasses. But I'm going to get my bees done. So I'm going to put in several more bees with nice, large, exaggerated wings. And I like doing the detail, like I said, in the wings. And then I'm going to actually put some bees lower so they'll be on flowers as well. You don't want, look how big the bees are. They're about 3 fingers. We're exaggerating this so that they don't look real small on our picture. So they give importance. By making it a large size, we're stressing the importance of the bees. So you can stick them on. If you want to make, instead of bees, you could do bumblebees. Butterflies. That's up to you if you want to do butterflies or whatnot. Now, I will show you how to do some of those daisies. This is what I'm going to do with my class. We're just going to do daisies. Oval for the daisy. And then come down and back. Elongated down and back. Out to the side. I looped it. Then I'm going to overlap. So I'm coming out and just have this one go behind that petal. And the lower petal down and back. And this one will be a side view daisy. Then I can add my stem, curve it down to the bottom of the page, curve this, and then we'll be able to paint the leaves in. I'm going to add about 5 or 7 big, large daisies. And you can do the full view or partial view. I'll show you a partial view here. This daisy is going to be tipped to the side. So I start with my center, and then I do the petals down and back, across, around, and you can do the daisies on your own, but once you learn how to make the single daisy, then you put them any way you want. I'm going to do some more petals here, long petals, and if you want to do partial view of the other side of the daisy, I just come out, straighten the back, because this petal has fallen over, so you can't see the other side of it. So I'm just giving a little bump here to show that the daisy's tipped over. Those petals have just tipped over. You could even put a little texture if you want dots or something in the center. I'm going to do that on this side too, give a little texture. So I've got a daisy that's partial view here. Of course, give a curve. Now I'm going to do I'll do a front view daisy here. So this is more rounded. And then the petals will be all around. Just come out. And if you want to make them even, you can do 1 on each side. Out and back. Now when you make your daisy petals, take your time and go slow. Down, around, and back. down, around, and back, up, around, and back. Try and keep them similar. Some of them can overlap. This one's going to overlap here. I can have this one overlap partially as well. And maybe this one overlapping partially as well. They radiate out from a center. See how it comes down and out? So it's kind of like this way. See, it comes out. If you have to turn your paper, sometimes kids turn the paper, it's easier to draw. So I want some pretty large. So I've got 3 flowers. Remember, you want odd number flowers. So I might do 5 flowers. So I'm going to bring this over here and do another one here. And don't make them the same. You want some partial, some tilting one way, some tilting the other. I'm going to have this one tilting this way. Down and out, down and out. And then I'll have a partial one right here. And then the stem. And like I said, for the leaves, I'm just going to paint in the tall daisy stems. Daisy leaves. And grasses, we're going to put them in the meadow, so there's going to be grass. Now, if the daisies are farther away, they're going to get smaller in the meadow. So the one that's back here, I'm going to slowly get smaller because the ones in the front are called the foreground. The middle ground, watch the difference in size. This one, I blow it up for you. This one's going to be smaller. And I'm just going to add a little line like that, and of course I'll put my leaves in after, and my grasses. So then I'm going to do another small one. Back here, getting even smaller. That wasn't much smaller. And then eventually you're just going to have a little blob far, far away. These are the daisies so far away you can barely see it. These are just little circles, and these are daisies that are really small. You don't see it all, you just see a little white blob. I'll put one a little bit closer this way. I'm going to do another one in here, just so it's a really, yeah, so it's a wildflower meadow. You want it to be a nice wildflower meadow. And you might even want one right here too. I might do a bigger one down front. The big one right down front. And then I'm going to work on this side, adding another smaller one over here. And then you can even put in, you know, if you want to have a bee sitting on one of these down here, you could. I might stick a bee right down here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So down here, I'm just sticking in a bee sitting on top of a flower. And this will make sense when you start painting it in, because you'll have the little white spots and then the grass. This will get smaller as we go. I might do another small flower here. So you add your flowers as you like. I'll give you time to do that, and then we'll start painting this in. Here are the bears that were started, and this was just with 1 day sketching, and then the rest of the art class we used to start painting. I think they had 15 minutes to start the painting. So we will finish next week. But I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I will put some examples at the end as well. So we sketched it and added a little bit of paint. And they came out pretty cute. Actually adorable. They came out